wanted to transport you not to a Mediterranean or a colonial village like the Majestic might, but instead to a lush tropical paradise. And so if you look over here behind the staircase railing, we have these three-dimensional leaves that you see behind the plexiglass. It's meant to give you the impression you're at a resort somewhere and you're looking outside. They would have been backlit originally, and you would say, my gosh, what a cool environment. Then as you look at the wood casing going around the banisters of the staircase, this is to protect them, but we can see a glimpse here that these were glass banisters or plexiglass, and that they are etched, and they would have had uplighting so the etching was glowing as you were looking at it. As you look around the room and you see these dots on the walls, these dots would have been where mirrors were adhered to the wall. So look at it. Everything with dots was solid mirrors surrounding you. And as you were looking here in the middle of the entryway, this was a sculpture in aluminum by an artist named Pedro Terán. And he described it as a waterless fountain. He described it as a fountain of light. So if you look here, we have a rendering of what the Spirit of Dance by Pedro Terán would have looked like there in the middle. These sculptures have been taken down so that they can be restored and incorporated into the renovated space. Here you see when they renovate this space, look at the mirrors that are going all the way around the room once again. And then notice this chandelier that was hanging in the very center of the room. It was coming down here and would have filled this space. So you would have walked in and you would have seen tropical plants on either side of you, and then you are surrounded by mirrors and lights and all of these flowing curves. Look how organic all of these curves are that we saw from the exterior, how they're coming into the interior here. I had a gentleman on my tour. He said, Brent, when I was 10 years old, I was an usher that stood right there on the other side of those doors. And he said, I was so proud to tell people I worked at the Alameda. He said there was nowhere cooler that you could have been. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will stand with your back to this wall facing me, I'd like to show you some other things. So come over here, have your back facing this wall. I mentioned a moment ago that the staircase banisters were etched plexiglass. As you look up here, you can see the same etched plexiglass goes all the way around the room. And the etchings are from sketches Mr. Lucchese and Mr. Nafach had as they were traveling in Mexico. They drew different plants and flowers that they saw. Then you see paintings here on the maroon that were from those same sketches. Between the maroon and the pink, there would have been uplighting here. Between the pink and the aqua, you would have uplighting once again, and then you would have the chandelier coming down from this hook here. Now, the architect, I already mentioned his name was N. Strauss Nafach. Sadly, he died of a heart attack 8 months before the theater was completed. So he never saw it come to life. And what I think is interesting about that, 8 months before opening day, do you think they had mirrors installed already 8 months before? I don't think they did. And I don't think they may have had the light fixture up or the sculptures up yet. I think what you were seeing right now is very similar to how the architect would have seen it before his death. Amazingly, did any of y'all hear there was a story on TPR about this tour? It aired last week. And in Austin, a woman wrote me and she said, I am the daughter of N. Strauss Nafach, and I'm so proud that my dad is getting mentioned on your tour. So they are going to do fantastic work restoring this space. If you know Kurt Voss Metals, they're the ones that did all the metal work going around you here. And I want to show you that, by the way, Kurt Voss Metals did the Aztec Theater chandelier. If you've been to the Aztec, that fantastic chandelier. If you know the Hertzberg clock on Houston Street, Kurt Voss restored it. Here we have the original doors of the theater, and you can see in the panes of glass there were etchings here, once again, of plants and flowers on those little window panes. The fantastic curvature. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we go today, We do have 3 rules inside the theater. Rule number 1 is we stick together. I think you're going to agree with that and be compliant, so that's great. Rule number 2 is that we do not take shortcuts. We follow the leader, so if you will make sure to do that. I mentioned that 2 weeks ago. I said we don't take shortcuts. 30 seconds later, someone took a shortcut. So we all take the same path. And the third rule is we do not look up and walk at the same time. We look up and then we look down and we walk, okay? So if you will finish looking up and now we look down, let's walk this direction.